By losing just 10 pounds, you could reduce your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and arthritis by a whopping 50%. Hi, how in the world are you anyway? I'm Andy Willoughby from ILikeHowILook.com. I have found something that could help you lose 10 to 15 pounds in the next 30 days without starving yourself or exercising to exhaustion. Just go to ILikeHowILook.com and watch the short video. ILikeHowILook.com uses hydrolyzed collagen protein to help you lose weight and tone up. They also have a thermogenic capsule that could curb your appetite, improve your mood, give you more energy, and the best part is that it burns fat like a blowtorch. I introduced this to some of my friends a few months ago. Within just a couple of weeks, most were losing weight and dropping dress and pant sizes faster than they could buy new clothes. So watch the video at ILikeHowILook.com, and maybe soon you'll be saying, I like how I look.
A Boston conservative in the cradle of liberty. You'll want to listen when Chuck Morse speaks on the Information Radio Network.
Thank you very much. Yes, it is I, Chuck Morse, Monday through Friday, 10 till noon Eastern Standard Time. Here at the USA Network, you're welcome to join the program, 844-439-1391, 844-439-1391. Of course, I'd like to welcome aboard the author of the soon-to-be-released upcoming book, Crimes of the Educators, that being my good friend, Dr. Samuel L. Blumenfeld. Sam, how are you?
Fine, fine. Have you received a copy of the book yet?
I certainly have, and I am reading it. It is fantastic. You know,
Good,
Sam, this
good.
book really is a distillation of all of your previous books, all of the research you've done, all of the wisdom you've gathered is nicely laid out and compact in a compact and easy-to-read form. I mean, this book is going to blow the lid off of the entire rotten educrat establishment in a way that nothing else ever has. I can hardly wait till it's released. I'm looking forward to writing a little blurb for it, and I really want to thank you and congratulate you for doing it.
Well, thank you very much. I'm delighted to hear that. And you're absolutely right. It sums up everything that I've been doing and writing for the last 40 years on this subject. You know, all of a sudden it all came together, and I could see the complete picture. I wasn't able to see that before because, you know, we were dealing with each aspect of the education crisis, each aspect separately. But finally it all came together, and I was able to see the big picture of how the progressives have used the public education system as the means of promoting their agenda to change America from a constitutional republic to, as I say, a socialist fantasy, because they really have no idea what they really want. You know, all they do is that they definitely don't want a constitutional republic. We know what they don't want. But when John Dewey decided to embark on this conspiracy, he was basing his idea of communism and socialism on the novel written by Edward Bellamy in 1888, Looking Backward, which is a fantasy. It's a fantasy of America becoming a communist, socialist society in the year 2000. And, you know, that book has been read by thousands of college students. It's, you know, I often meet people. For example, my nephew told me that he had to read that in college, and he went to Rutgers. So I'm just wondering how many millions of college students have read that particular book. And as a matter of fact, in the 1930s, when the editor of the Atlantic and John Dewey were asked to name the most influential books in America in the 20th century, guess which one came out on top? Das Kapital by Karl Marx came out on top, and Edward Bellamy was second, you see. So they've been riding this horse. They've been riding this horse for 100 years, and look what we've got today. I mean, we have a royal mess, and millions of damaged individuals, millions of impaired brains, millions of functional illiterates. I mean, it's impossible to even, to figure out the cost of all of this in terms of human loss, the loss of
destroyed lives, damaged lives, broken lives.
Yeah.
A broken spirit. I mean, it's basically been an attempt to, for bizarre reasons that probably they're not even conscious of, slow down, retard, impair, break the ability of the sovereign American citizen to advance and thus advance human society. It's an attempt to create less, we think education is supposed to create a better person, which is conventional thinking, and which is what it should be. But it's actually put in place by these educrats, starting with John Dewey and Francis Bellamy, Edward Bellamy's cousin, to really create a lesser person so that they can fit into this collective, so they could be more amicable to top-down control. Edward Bellamy's cousin, Francis Bellamy, Sam, maybe you may know something about this. He started the whole nationalist club movement of the late 19th century, where young people, first of all, I mean, it was a pledge allegiance to the flag, which was very different when it started, which was more of a hyper-nationalist pledge. I mean, it's turned into a good thing. It's turned into a patriotic act, which is why the left is against it today. But originally it was this hyper-nationalist attempt to swear loyalty to the national state. It was modeled on the Prussian model. And I've seen pictures on the Internet, and I don't know if I cannot confirm whether they're authentic or whether it's some kind of a hoax, but they show young boys and girls in elementary school pledging to the flag under under Francis Bellamy's nationalist clubs and giving what we now consider to be the Nazi salute. And that this was an American classroom. Is that true, Sam? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that, but as you know, the swastika, for example, is a design that you find in India and even, I think, among American Indians. I mean, it's...
That's right.
You see, and...
You do, but the Nazis did something special to it. What they did was they twisted it.
Right.
And they made it like at an angle. I mean, when you see it in Tibet, I mean, it's just a straight insignia.
Right.
But Sam, the point I'm making here is that the Bellamys, both cousins, were part of this, quote, so-called progressive movement, along with John Dewey, to create this hyper-nationalist state. The nanny state. Conservatives are often accused by the left of supporting, like, the nationalism. And that's one of these big lies. That's a complete falsehood. We are nationalists in that we support, we love our country, but we support limited government. I think it was none other than Mark Twain who had a good quote on this, and I can't quote it, but he said, love your country, but don't trust your government.
Right.
He had a lot of things to say about that, and he was probably responding to the Edward Bellamys of his own day, in that, the conservative, we love America, but we love America because it's limited government, because it recognizes the sovereignty of the people, sovereignty of God, and that God gives us limited sovereignty. We don't love government. We don't love, so they're kind of doing what Sigmund Freud called projecting.
We don't love the state. You see, many of these people, including Dewey, were greatly influenced by Hegel. And Hegel, of course, saw the state as God on earth. In other words, the state represented, transcendental power. And that's where we get this whole business of statism. It comes from Germany. It comes from Hegelianism. And Hegel had quite an influence on American educators. For example, William Torrey Harris was a Hegelian. And Dewey went through a Hegelian period. But, of course, Hegel believed in not dialectical materialism, but dialectical spiritualism. And, of course, Marx and finally Dewey became atheists and went for dialectical materialism, which...
Right, I mean, they talked about, like, the left Hegelians and the right Hegelians.
Right,
and
exactly.
And Marx obviously was one of the major left Hegelians in that, they viewed the idea of societal advancement as going through stages as a result of taking opposite ideas and smashing them together to create a new idea, the thesis, the antithesis,
exactly.
And then you have a new synthesis.
Exactly.
And, of course, they also derived that principle from Darwin, too, because he had a biological synthesis. I mean, a biological dialectic in that you'd have, species wiping out the inferior members of the species, mating with the superior members to outpop a new species.
Well, natural selection, that was his term that he used. Very interesting. Speaking of evolution, I wrote an article for the New American on this particular professor. He's an evolutionary biologist, and he says that every semester with his new class, he gives them a little lecture on how irreconcilable science is with religion. And I wrote an article on that and showed that you couldn't have science without religion, in fact.
Of course, you need science to...
Biology of all subjects shows more proof of creation, of intelligent creation than any other aspect, a scientific field. And that article has created 54 comments.
Wow. Can you send that to me, Sam? I'd like to have that professor on this show. Maybe we could do it together.
Yeah, you ought to have him. His name is Bakash.
Yeah, I will. Send me the information. I'll see if I can set it up. I can't guarantee he'll come on, but we can try.
Yeah.
And we'll have a good on-air debate over his thesis there.
Yeah,
that's really very interesting.
And he makes the ridiculous statement that randomness can create non-randomness. I mean, that's so preposterous, the idea that accident can create something that's permanent. It can't possibly
it's kind
happen.
of like, it's very Orwellian, isn't it? What is good is bad, what is bad is good. It's almost satanic. I mean, isn't that what the satanic mass is? They take out all of the images and the ritual of the Catholic Mass, and they reverse it. They put it on its head. That's the very essence. I mean, that's symbolic of what is essentially a satanic worldview, which is that what is good becomes evil, and what is evil becomes good.
But
Sam, I want to just talk a little bit. I'd like to talk a little bit about the upcoming election.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is the peaceful revolution. It happens every 2 years. I am optimistic that Republicans are going to take back the U.S. Senate, that they're going to increase their margin in the House. I'm optimistic that here in Massachusetts, Charlie Baker will be the governor, and he's a Republican, and that apparently is making buzzing around the country that he might win, and that he was actually endorsed by the Boston Globe. And I'm optimistic that Scott Brown is going to win in New Hampshire. But my optimism is tempered by an understanding that the left has the power of voter fraud. They've got the power of the establishment behind them that can make things reverse very quickly. So I'd like your thoughts on that. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back. Sam Blumenfeld's my guest.
kid. When guys like us walk into a facility in the morning, we can smell a problem. No one needs to hand us a work order. We already know it. Today, for instance, we need a new gearbox, 6 globe valves, and a dozen ballasts. And when I smell a problem, Grainger smells that I smell a problem. They help me keep this place up and running. Now that's the kind of smell I like. The sweet smell of success. Get it? Got it? Good. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you tired of having more month left over at the end of the money? Then you might want to consider a home-based business. On average, a home business household earns nearly twice as much money, and you don't have to fight traffic. Hi, how in the world are you anyway? This is Andy Willoughby with the 3-Step Plan Home Business System. Building a home business could help you get out of debt, improve your lifestyle. Why, you might even be able to save some money for a change. For information, go to 3stepusa.com or call 800-480-2102. There are thousands of people all over the nation using the 3-Step Plan to make money from home. Some are working for just a few extra dollars each month so they don't have to worry about money all the time. Others are building huge businesses that earn thousands upon thousands of dollars and are getting their share of the American dream. To find out how you could make more money working from home, go to 3stepusa.com or call 800-480-2102. That's 800-480-2102.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When our daughter Emma was born, we took a look at our credit card debt. It was not a good situation. We had been running up balances for quite some time, and it became a crisis. Finally, my wife Vicki said, call Trinity.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-793-8752 to talk to a certified counselor.
We called them, they contacted all of our creditors, they stopped the collections calls, they got the interest reduced, and they put us on a plan for success.
Trinity will consolidate your bills, stop collections calls, wipe out late fees, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
We are now completely debt-free, and we will never be in the spot we were again, thanks to Trinity.
If your debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-793-8752.
My name is John.
I'm Vicki.
And I'm Emma.
And we're debt-free for keeps.
That's 1-800-793-8752.
It's the hard truth. In today's world, negative experiences quickly find a way to go online. One disgruntled customer, a bad employee, or broken personal relationship can easily post an ill-advised photo, tweet, rumor, story, bad review, and there it is right on page 1 when you search your name or business online. In the past, you had no way to fight back. Well, now you can. Grab a pen and take down this phone number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-866-345-5673. That's 1-866-345-5673. When you call, you'll get free info that will show you how a reputation management company can easily build positive online content for you and legally bury negative information. This is not something you can do on your own. Don't lose any more business or miss out on another personal or business opportunity because of what is wrongfully being said about you online. Take control of your internet search results. Call 1-866-345-5673. That's 1-866-345-5673. Hurry, don't delay. Call 1-866-345-5673 now.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. With one phone call, you'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information. It's a free service, so call now.
800-379-2206. 800-379-2206.
Taking back America one listener at a time. Chuck Morse speaks.
Sam Blumenfeld's my guest, author of the upcoming book, Crimes of the Educators. Sam, the election, as mentioned, is less than a week away. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm very fearful that the left is going to pull out some kind of a trick at the last minute. They've got voter fraud on their side. We saw the Washington Post, which is not some liberal conservative paper, mention that upwards of 15% of the vote in 2008, 2010 was cast by illegal aliens who had falsely registered to vote, which is a crime. We know that there are machines that have not been, quote, calibrated properly. that have been found in Chicago and apparently Philadelphia now that vote Democrat no matter how you vote. You had this guy go into one of those machines in Chicago who himself was a candidate for state senate as a Republican, and he tried to vote for himself and couldn't because the machine kept going to his opponent.
Right.
And other sort of tricks like that. We have James O'Keefe just did an excellent expose showing voter fraud in Colorado. You've got hundreds of thousands of ballots being mailed to people in Colorado. They don't go to polls anymore. They're doing it all by mail. That's a recipe for fraud.
Yes, of course.
I mean, who knows who it's going to. So that's what I'm mainly afraid of. And I think that if we had an honest vote which respected the principle of one man, one vote, the Republicans would win overwhelmingly. But I'm afraid that they're going to pull a trick. What say you?
I thought that Romney would win in the last presidential election.
And he probably did win.
Yes, but I also know that Obama is a professional community organizer. That is a person conceived by, Saul Alinsky to round up the poor, to get them out of their houses and get them to the polls to vote for your candidate. And these are people who generally would not vote at all because they're not politically motivated. This vast black underclass. And he was able to get them to the polls by bribing them. Obama gave them cell phones and God knows what other kind of gifts. They probably even paid some of these people to vote. So we're dealing with that. And, of course, they're still using those tactics wherever they can. And it's a little more difficult for them on the local scene to do that. But I think that if Republicans were aware of the shenanigans that are taking place, they would be more inclined to get out there and vote rather than to take things for granted and saying, oh, well, he's so many points ahead, I don't have to bother to go to the polls.
It's going to take extra votes to make an honest election, Sam. And you talked about 2012.
Well,
we recall that the swing states.
Well, they say that several million Republicans did not vote in the presidential election.
And some of these knuckleheads that I've even had on this program, they won't vote for the Republican because they think, they're not pure enough. They're not ideological. They disagree with them on too many issues. So what they're going to do is stay home and elect the Democrats. And for my thoughts is that that's just downright unpatriotic. I've heard people say, well, we want to see really bad people come in because in the long run it's going to help us later. That's awful. That's such a cynical view. I mean, you don't let evil come in because you will get, goodness later. You fight evil. Every election is an election in and of itself. You don't do this kind of strategy. You vote for the lesser of the two evils because you want less evil.
Exactly.
Do you want less evil? The question is less evil or more evil. Which do you vote for? This idea, these purists, and with all due respect, I include in that the John Birch Society, which I've been told they sat out the election of 2012 because they didn't like Mitt Romney. Great. So thank you very much. They elected Barack Obama.
Exactly.
They shouldn't even, they have no right to even criticize Obama because by not voting, they helped put him in office. I don't understand that kind of, this kind of like, it's not dealing with reality. We have an election. We have a choice.
It's spiteful. That's what it is. It's childish and spiteful. If you don't do it my way.
Apparently this is what's going on in New Hampshire. There was a poll done which shows that Scott Brown and Gene Shaheen are running neck and neck, but that the challenger of Scott Brown, that being Bob Smith, who's a pretty good guy in my opinion, but nevertheless, some of his followers are just refusing to vote for Scott Brown. They're not going to vote. So thank you very much, Gene Shaheen. Anyway, we'll be right back.
Today's world, negative experiences quickly find a way to go online. One disgruntled customer, a bad employee, or broken personal relationship can easily post an ill-advised photo, tweet, rumor, story, bad review, and there it is right on page 1 when you search your name or business online. In the past, you had no way to fight back. Well, now you can. Grab a pen and take down this phone number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-866-345-5673. That's 1-866-345-5673. When you call, you'll get free info. Free info that will show you how a reputation management company can easily build positive online content for you and legally bury negative information. This is not something you can do on your own. Don't lose any more business or miss out on another personal or business opportunity because of what is wrongfully being said about you online. Take control of your internet search results. Call 1-866-345-5673. That's 1-866-345-5673. Hurry, don't delay. Call 1-866-345-5673 now.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and leave your information, I'll send you the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-970-6156. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. Call 800-970-6156 now.
Chuck Morse speaks.
Thank you very much. So, Sam, we're talking about the election. You know, we might recall that in 2012, I believe you and I did a program the Wednesday before that election, and we were optimistic that Mitt Romney was going to win. In fact, we were almost celebrating, right? And then, of course, we did a show the following Wednesday. I was listening back to some of these programs which are archived on Podomatic and iTunes, and it was just devastating. I mean, I still haven't gotten over it. And if you think voter fraud didn't play a role, we might recall, because I was listening back to it, that the swing states, the so-called swing states in that election were Ohio, Pennsylvania, Missouri, and Michigan. Those were where all the effort was being placed, especially Ohio. And there were in the big cities in those states, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Detroit, St. Louis, you had districts and you had precincts where Obama had gotten 98% of the vote, 99%. There were a couple where he even got 105%.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's not, that's not possible. You know, that Rush Limbaugh had it right the next day when he said that Saddam Hussein didn't get that many votes.
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't happen. And what happens there is that at the end of the day, when they shut the doors at the end of the voting period, the corrupt clerks will go through all of the people that had not shown up to vote, and they fill out those ballots. There's all kinds of ballot stuffing maneuvers that go on. I mean, Chris Matthews, who is to the left of Stalin, he talked about this growing up in Philadelphia, how this used to be done in his precinct. And you have a bunch of corrupt district attorneys and corrupt local judges who don't hear any opposition to it. You have a machine that runs these areas, a Democrat machine, where you've had people, the Democrat Party has been in power in these areas for probably the better part of a century, and that's why they're so rotten, especially Detroit. I mean, why people don't uprise.
Right. Even in a state like New Hampshire, you have all kinds of shenanigans. For example, in New Hampshire, students, out-of-state students, are able to vote.
Right.
So you get all of
and
these
then they
liberal
vote twice.
students from the schools in New Hampshire who have nothing to do with New Hampshire. They're just getting an education there, and they vote Democratic, you know. And
not only that, but they vote twice.
Yeah.
Then they send home an absentee ballot for their home state also.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big issue. I remember bringing this up in 2012 to my liberal co-host and his liberal guests, and they went berserk that I would even suggest such a thing.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what happens. But the most ugly and the most insidious part of the entire agenda of states trying to clean up the voter rolls and get rid of people who had moved out of state or died and simply make them more accurate, and also things like a free voter ID, is that you've got this phony baloney group called the William Brennan Institute, which was financed entirely by George Soros. It's a turf group. It's a front. Come up with these really incendiary and false reports saying that attempts by states to implement reasonable voter ID laws to protect the sanctity of the vote, that this is secretly something against African American men and women, that they're trying to, I mean, the other day, this black preacher who's very much part of that said that they're secretly trying to bring back the poll tax and this kind of nonsense. First of all, I mean, besides the fact that this is a big lie, the idea of protecting the vote and protecting the sanctity of one man, one vote, that's something that black people have fought for since the Civil War.
That's
right. I mean, that's one of the basic reasons why, black people got out of slavery and got out of Jim Crow and discrimination so that they could have their vote counted, not diluted by fraud. We'll be right back.
A Truth Talk defender, Chuck Morse is someone you really do want to know. Chuck hosts the radio talk show Chuck Morse Speaks, which is nationally syndicated. He's the author of books and numerous columns that have been published broadly. Chuck received the 2003 Communicator of the Year award and was named a Heavy 100 radio talk host by Talkers Magazine. When Chuck Morse speaks, people listen.
The taking possession of this tiny holy land so that the Jew can serve God, not conquer the world.
To hear Chuck live, go to irnusaradio.com. To hear Chuck with Deborah Ray on Truth Talk Beyond the Soundbite, visit the on-demand page at deborahray.us.
Most of us have pondered about the one universal question. Is there a God? And if there is there any absolute proof? It is for that exact reason why my good friend Sam Sorbo and I, Maurice Forte, have written our book, The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven. In essence, the answers in our book are surprisingly simple as they're true. Just as light will eliminate darkness, so does the law, which in Greek is called cosmos, eliminate the possibility of chance. Therefore, chance had no part in the creation of the law of this cosmos. And so the only other possibility is that the law was created by a creator that we call God. The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven, is probably one of the most powerful books that truly proves the existence of God via his universal laws, and with it that of an eternal soul and everlasting life. Please find our book, The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven, now on Amazon.com or at our website, theanswer-book.com.
In today's world, negative experiences quickly find a way to go online. One disgruntled customer, a bad employee, or broken personal relationship can easily post an ill-advised photo, tweet, rumor, story, bad review, and there it is right on page 1 when you search your name or business online. In the past, you had no way to fight back. Well, now you can. Grab a pen and take down this phone number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-866-345-5673. That's 1-866-345-5673. When you call, you'll get free info. Free free info that will show you how a reputation management company can easily build positive online content for you and legally bury negative information. This is not something you can do on your own. Don't lose any more business or miss out on another personal or business opportunity because of what is wrongfully being said about you online. Take control of your internet search results. Call 1-866-345-5673. That's 1-866-345-5673. Hurry, don't delay. Call 1-866-345-5673 now.
Chuck Morse speaks.
Thank you very much. Sam Blumenfeld's my guest. So, Sam, that's what I'm worried about next Tuesday. I'm not worried about the... I think that if we had honesty, if we had one man, one vote, if we had every vote counted by and cast by the citizen, which is it's almost a sacred right. It is a sacred right in our secular society. There's nothing that could be more close to a religious experience by a free people than the right to vote.
Well,
people have fought and died for this right. Then the Republicans would win.
Yes, I agree with you, but as I say, I'm as cautiously optimistic as you are, because I know the total dishonesty of the Democrats. The Democrats are so corrupt, so evil, that they will do anything to maintain their power, and it's nothing to them to finagle around with the votes. I mean, when one of their precincts has 105% for Obama, you know that it's corrupt. And God knows how many places in the United States where you have that. We only hope that there are enough areas in the country that are honest enough to bring us over the top this time. I mean, as you say,
well, it's going to take.
The Democrats concentrate on certain states where they know corruption is easier to,
certain precincts.
Yeah,
that's right.
And the thing is,
they'll do it only. Go ahead.
But then you also have to realize how dumbed down the American public is. All you have to, Jay Leno pointed that out many times on his show by showing how ignorant Americans are in this country. And of course, it's because of the schools that people have been so thoroughly dumbed down in this country. So you've got to take that into consideration also, is the low knowledge of the vast number of people who actually go to the polls. I mean, for example, there was a piece on TV about West Virginia and a part of Ohio that is in the coal belt.
Okay, Sam, we'll be right back.
Right.
Most of us have pondered about the one universal question. Is there a God? And if there is there any absolute proof? It is for that exact reason why my good friend Sam Sorbo and I, Maurice Forte, have written our book, The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven. In essence, the answers in our book are surprisingly simple as they're true. Just as light will eliminate darkness, so does the law, which in Greek is called cosmos, eliminate the possibility of chance. Therefore, chance had no part in the creation of the law of this cosmos. And so the only other possibility is that the law was created by a creator that we call God. The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven, is probably one of the most powerful books that truly proves the existence of God via his universal laws, and with it that of an eternal soul and everlasting life. Please find our book, The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven, now on Amazon.com or at our website, theanswer-book.com.
You'll want to listen when Chuck Morse speaks on the Information Radio Network.
Thanks so much, and Sam Blumenfeld's here. Sam, we're talking about, of course, the real problem of the election and the way the Democrats will pull this off. they only employ the voter fraud in races that are very, very close, where they think it might make a difference. If either they're way ahead or the Republicans way ahead, they don't bother with it.
Right.
But of course, that's what we're looking at. That's why it happened in the so-called swing states in 2012. And that's where yeah.
And that's where they concentrate all their dirty tricks, in those states. But as I was saying when the last when we were before the break, is that the coal miners know that Obama wants to destroy the coal industry, and they know that Obama is working to do that. And many of the mines have closed in Ohio, and these people are out of work. But they're going to vote for the Democrat because the Republican voted did not want to extend unemployment compensation for another 2 years or something like that. So they're going to still vote for a Democrat, which shows you
that's discouraging.
Yeah, which shows you the ridiculous mindset of these people. They would, if they're going to be unemployed, they want to at least be compensated by the government, you see. But and even though they know that Obama is actually has said he wants to destroy the coal industry in this country. So that's the kind of thing that you have to fight against also. Maybe some of these miners will actually vote Republican. They'll hold their noses and finally vote for a Republican. But we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what the outcome will be in this election. This election is going to teach us an awful lot about what constitutes America today. That is, what kind of people we are. Whether we still can get back, whether we can still restore the constitutional republic that the founding fathers gave us. I mean, that's the whole point, to see if that can happen. And if the Republicans take control of the Senate, then that's going to be a good sign that that there is a road back, that we can, restore this country to what it once was, the great city, shining city on a hill, and instead of being what we are today. Another piece of bad news is Obama is increasingly dissatisfied with Netanyahu and the Israelis.
I'd say. He referred to him by, Chicken SH.
Yes,
Did you see that quote?
I read that. Yeah.
Apparently that's Netanyahu's nickname in the White House. Can you imagine that? Here's a man who has fought on the front lines in wars. His brother was killed in the Entebbe attack. He has spent his entire life fighting, and they call him a chicken? Obama, of all people? Can you imagine the utter, I mean, it's really a despicable thing. ISIS, they're not,
But the thing is,
I hope that Jews wake up to that.
Yeah,
what is it going to take? I mean, really.
Well, the American people are solidly behind Israel, and certainly the Republicans are, and many Democrats. I mean, there are many Democrats who are very, very pro-Israel. So Obama's stance does not sit well with many Democrats, which is good for Israel. But
I hope so.
Yeah. But the thing is, they don't realize that with Hamas on the south and Hezbollah in the north, with Syria, completely in a state of chaos, with the caliphate threatening Israel, with Iran threatening Israel with a nuclear bomb, that the Israelis cannot withdraw from the West Bank. That would be suicidal to do it. They cannot permit Hamas to occupy the high ground over Tel Aviv and Ben Gurion Airport. They can't do it, And the United States does not believe that. The United States ignores all of that. They ignore the reality of the Middle East the way it is. And they expect Netanyahu to have the Israelis commit suicide. That's the only way they'll be satisfied. So ridiculous, you know. And that's why Netanyahu is building more apartments in Jerusalem.
Of course. All right, Sam, we'll be right back.
Gotta pay attention to the small things, kid. Small things matter. Small problems become big problems. Take a transformer. Rain leaks into a transformer, insulation system breaks down. Insulation system breaks down, copper windings overheat. Copper windings overheat, transformer blows. Transformer blows, facility goes dark. Facility goes dark. Kid, you don't want to know what happens next. That's why I use Grainger. Grainger helps keep small problems from turning into big problems. Get it? Got it? Good. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. With one phone call, you'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information. It's a free service, so call now.
800-379-2206. 800-379-2206.
Author, journalist, and American patriot. This is Chuck Morse Speaks.
Thanks so much, Sam. You know, let's keep our fingers crossed, and God willing, there'll be a miracle on Tuesday.
Yes,
and the country will be restored. There's so much at stake right now.
Exactly, and of course, if we win, as we hope we will, we'll really celebrate on Wednesday. That'll be a great day for your show, you know.
Oh, please, I can hardly wait, Sam.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
As the old saying goes, let's not count the eggs until they're in the basket, you know?
Right.
I mean, okay. But yeah, that would be huge. There's so much at stake. Obama has an executive order that's going to give amnesty to upwards of 20 million people. Obamacare is going to be kicking in. That's going to throw people off their insurance policies. It's going to cut businesses. We're talking, if they leave Harry Reid in place and they leave even a hint of victory for Obama, that is going to be a huge setback for this country, one that we're in no position right now to sustain. And if we can stop Obama on Tuesday and take back the Senate and do it with a pretty good margin, then that's going to flip Obama back on his heels, and he will be a lame duck for the next 2 years because a strong Congress, controlled both houses by the Republicans, if Obama dares to issue an executive order like that, he'll be impeached.
Yes.
You know, and they've already said so. So, I mean,
I'm glad to hear that.
Here.
I'm glad to hear that. But we're living in dangerous times, you know. And you've got this Ebola epidemic, you know, that's taking its toll on the people in Africa, and we have to fight it here. We have what's happening in the Middle East. I mean, even Lebanon now is on the brink of a civil war, and that's in that tiny country. The only country that seems to have emerged with some stability is Egypt, where they have a good extremist government, where they were able to get rid of the Brotherhood, and that's the only. And of course, the United States has been very cool to them now. But we'll see.
And to Israel.
Okay.
All right, Sam. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank
you very much, Sam.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
A piece of chocolate cake called you into the kitchen? Has the Dairy Queen sign ever forced your car into the drive-through lane? Have you ever had a bag of chips dive off the counter right into your hands? Hi, how in the world are you anyway? I'm Andy Willoughby, speaking for the ILikeHowILook.com website. Chances are, at some time in your day, you have been and will continue to be the victim of cravings. ILikeHowILook.com website realizes that you can't hide in your closet all day just to avoid snack attacks. That's why they recommend the 10 2 and a chew weight loss system. 10 2 and a Chew offers powerful, natural appetite suppressants to put cravings on the run. To see a video explaining how it works, just go to ILikeHowILook.com. They will send you a free sample. Most people notice a difference the very first day. It's much easier to lose weight without those sneaky cravings, so watch the video at ILikeHowILook.com. That's ILikeHowILook.com. Heard of the KISS system, KISS. Keep it super simple. Hi, how in the world are you anyway? This is Andy Willoughby presenting the simple 3-step plan home business system. I really think that the main reason the 3-step plan has been able to help so many people build a business working from home is because of its simplicity. If you have a telephone, internet access, and some good old stick-to-itiveness, you could make more money working from home. For information, go to 3Step USA or call 800-480-2102. Our turnkey system will give you everything you need to be successful. Many 3-Step Plan members are now in the top 2% of income earners in the nation, and they did it working from home. If you want a better financial future and think you might appreciate the freedom of working from home, we invite you to check out the 3-Step Plan. Go to 3Step USA or call 800-480-2102.
A Boston conservative in the cradle of liberty. You'll want to listen when Chuck Morse speaks on the Information Radio Network.
Thank you very much. Hour number 2 of Chuck Morse Speaks, Monday through Friday, 10 till noon Eastern Standard Time. You're welcome to join the program, 844-439-1391, here at the USA Network, 844-439-1391. My guest this segment is Dr. Richard A. Dio. He is the author of the book, Watch Your Back, How the Back Pain Industry is Costing Us More and Giving Us Less. What you can do to inform and empower yourself in seeking culture and politics of healthcare work. Dr. Dio, thanks for joining me this afternoon.
You bet, my pleasure.
The book seems to deal with, first of all, the phenomena of a health problem, which is obviously quite real, which is back pain, but the development in recent times, probably over the past maybe couple of decades, of a bit of a cottage industry that is calling for various modalities to deal with it, and these modalities are both expensive and highly technical, and also not all that beneficial. So could you give us a little bit of a background in terms of how this industry has popped up and what's involved?
Yeah, I think your description is probably a fair one. I think back pain is a common problem. It affects most of us, actually, at some time in our lives. At least 2/3 of adults are going to have back pain at some point. And we've created, I think, an expectation on the part of the public that they should always be pain-free and that there's always a cure for such a problem. And unfortunately, it just doesn't always work that way. What we often find is that treatments are proposed that really haven't been well tested in terms of any scientific evidence, but that are highly popular. And we face a situation where most people are going to improve on their own, so it often seems as if these treatments that we try are really working. And that just perpetuates things. So one of my colleagues has done a study that identified 200 different treatments for back pain that are in the scientific literature, but with really minimal evidence for them. So it looks as if what's happened is people have sort of looked at this problem and said, boy, this is common. Everybody gets it. I might be able to hang out a shingle and make a living by selling some treatment for it. Chances are good patients will get better no matter what, so why not give it a try?
You know, it's kind of the old, snake oil salesman, frankly. I mean, not to use a derogatory term, but, I mean, they're offering a secret potion for a problem that will eventually, in most cases, resolve itself. And some of those solutions are pretty intense. I mean, we're talking surgery, we're talking intensive pills and drugs that can have very serious side effects. We're talking expensive medical equipment that hospitals are probably spending millions of dollars on, and then they need to justify that cost by using that equipment and sending people through all sorts of modalities. Well, what we're talking about here in most cases is simply muscular pain, or if it's a bone issue, then that's another matter. But it's something that's usually, as you say, resolvable by itself.
Yeah, that's certainly true for most people that have acute onset of back pain. That is a recent onset. Probably 90% are going to get better on their own, and it's just a matter of time. It may take weeks, it may take months, but nearly everyone is going to improve over time. On the other hand, there's a small fraction of people, just a few percent, who really develop persistent ongoing problems, and it's that small percentage that really develop chronic back pain who account for most of the health care use and the high costs of back problems. But as you said, many of the things that are being tried really do sort of look a lot like snake oil. That's a seemingly derogatory term, and yet a lot of things get put in the marketplace that I think could fairly be described as simply untested and in some cases unsafe. We might think the FDA prevents that from happening. That is, every new drug or every new surgical device that reaches the market's been well tested. But in fact, I think we have some good examples of drugs that have been recalled and drugs that turned out to have side effects and complications that we didn't know about when they first hit the market. And the same is true for new devices as well that are used for surgery and other types of treatment. So there's lots of opportunity for things that are really less than highly effective to get a wide use in the market.
So what then, therefore, does the consumer do if they are experiencing back pain? I mean, is there? I'm a fan of alternative medicines like chiropractic and whatnot. But I mean, is there anything that you can recommend or do recommend, Richard, in that area?
Yeah, well, certainly for people that have acute back pain, that is, again, sort of recent onset, just the last few days or weeks, I guess my message would be reassuring. You're going to get better and very likely to get well over the next matter of weeks or months, no matter what you do. In the meantime, the main order of business is to try to minimize the symptoms. So using over-the-counter pain medications, using local heat, those kinds of things are often helpful just to sort of see you through while the natural healing process goes on. On the other hand, the people who develop the more persistent problems may benefit from things like chiropractic care or acupuncture or massage, the things that are often called complementary and alternative treatments. They seem to be at least as effective as the more conventional treatments and probably safer in many ways. So for people that are so inclined, I think it's a perfectly reasonable choice. Most studies suggest that these things offer relatively short benefits. That's the drawback. And so I think for people with persistent problems, one of the most important keystones of therapy really is to get involved in a rigorous exercise program, usually going to be supervised by someone at the outset, but exercise really seems to be the mainstay of improving the persistent problems.
Right, so then it's really a matter of, I know that back in the day when I used to be a waiter, after high school, and I would carry heavy trays. My whole side and my back was in a lot of pain for a while because I'd be working these long hours and I'd be using certain muscles over other muscles. So, there was an overcompensation. And I think that maybe a lot of back pain has to do with whatever avocation you might be involved in at any given time. Sometimes people experience back pain after having driven from Boston to New York or whatever, for sitting in the car for 5 hours. you're going to get some back pain. You might get some stiffness. So, I mean, in a way, these things are natural.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. In many cases, it's just impossible to know exactly what the cause of the pain is, and that's, of course, one of the reasons why it's so challenging to come up with treatments that are really uniquely effective. But I think you're right. In many cases, it's a matter of muscle use and uncomfortable or unusual muscle use with certain activities, holding certain postures like the driving situation for long periods of time, and you get muscle tightness that is sometimes hard to resolve. But in most cases, again, that sort of acute onset of back pain is likely to improve on its own, and there really is just sort of a natural healing process that involves the muscles and the ligaments. So I think it's important for people not to panic and assume they're going to be disabled by the problem, because in most cases it really is going to improve on its own with just simple symptomatic measures.
Right, and the absolute last resort reaction should be to see a doctor. Wait a while. There are some simple exercises that I think contribute to a reduction in pain, and one of them is that so many of us, especially these times with the computer and whatnot, we tend to sit for long hours without getting up. It tends to leave. I think it puts the body in a position where it becomes almost frozen in place, and that's going to result in a muscle contraction, perhaps, or just a tightening of the muscles. And it seems to me that a common sense solution, and this has been said to me by people who are involved with things like personal training, is to just get up every maybe hour and a half, every hour, and just stretch or walk around. Some people actually have their computers now set up so that they can work on it while standing, and others same such things, because it's just a matter of basic, these things are really a matter of basic common sense.
Yeah, there's a lot that's true about that, and I agree. I think these standing workstations that are becoming popular are probably going to be really helpful. It in many ways is unnatural for us to sit for long periods of time, and yet that's what most of us do. Certainly what I do when I go to work is to sit in front of a computer for hours. And you're quite right. It's really important to get up and move around. If you're sitting that length of time, it's wise to be up and moving around every hour or so. And standing workstation as an option, at least, is an awfully good idea for most people.
Right. So, in other words, these are just, in a sense, you're looking at the natural use of the body, and it is using your body more. I mean, schools now no longer have recesses. In the old days, we used to be able to go out after lunch and just get some fresh air and stretch and play, perhaps toss a ball around for, a half hour, 45 minutes. Now that's gone. So sure, young people are getting fatter and they're getting various pains that they might not have had before. We're all squeezed into these little desks all day, and there's not a lot of movement. Kids are driven back and forth from school now because people are afraid to let them be out alone. Whereas we used to walk, for a half a mile to and from school. We no longer do the walking that we used to do. So, I mean, I would think that a lot of the increase in back pain, to the degree that that's happening, has to do with a concomitant phenomena of a decrease in simple use of our own bodies, in the course of everyday activity.
Yeah, I think your description is a good one of sort of modern society. Sedentariness is really hard to avoid in many ways, and of course kids are spending more time in the classroom. They spend more time in front of computer screens, playing games and so forth. A lot of concern about that. As adults, we often spend hours in front of the TV set. So in many ways, we've become a very sedentary society. As you point out, we ride our cars everywhere, and we've stopped walking by and large. And all of these things really contribute to a very sedentary lifestyle. Makes it easy to gain weight, easy for muscles to get deconditioned, and probably creates situations that are easier for back pain to become a problem. So while the incidence of back pain is it may sort of be aggravated by our modern lifestyle.
Exactly. So we're talking here about common sense, basic things that we can take a look at from simply looking at how we are functioning right now. Okay, my guest is Dr. Richard Dio. We are going to take a brief break here. Watch Your Back, available on all major bookstores. We'll be right back.
This is a special news alert to consumers who owe back taxes to the IRS.
Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing during the decline in the U.S. economy, the Internal Revenue Service is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers on back taxes, resulting in back taxes reduced by thousands of dollars. An open phone line has been established by Federal Tax Relief for consumers to call and see if you qualify for this reduction. To ensure your financial stability during this decline in the economy, take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-800-432-0360. That's 1-800-432-0360. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, there's no need to fear anymore. The IRS is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers, resulting in tax debts reduced by thousands of dollars. For your free information and to see if you qualify for your reduction, call the Federal Tax Relief Hotline, 1-800-432-0360. 1-800-432-0360. That's 1-800-432-0360.
Owning and caring for a home comes with a lot of to-dos. Tune up the furnace, clean the gutters, remodel the kitchen. Whatever your home improvement need, Home Advisor can help you find a pro you can trust to get the job done right. Go to rebuild.homeadvisor.com for instant access to top-rated pros in your area, including electricians, handymen, plumbers, whatever type of home pro you need. And Home Advisor is absolutely free to use. At Home Advisor, you can read customer reviews of the pros, even use the cost guide to find out what hundreds of other home projects cost in your area. And because Home Advisor knows it's important to find a pro you can trust in your home, they conduct background checks on their service professionals. It's just one of the reasons more than 25 million homeowners have used Home Advisor. Go to rebuild.homeadvisor.com to find the right pro for your project. That's rebuild.homeadvisor.com.
Friend, this is Pat Boone with a pretty good idea on how you can earn extra money in your spare time, and while you're doing it, help provide food for starving children. You heard me. Now you can earn money for your family and provide meals for hungry children all at the same time. Why don't you check out usagoodness.com. Get more information on starting a new home business. You'll feel great earning extra money to help the family budget, but you'll feel even better knowing that your work is actually saving lives. Go to usagoodness.com or call toll-free 800-301-6177. Again, 800-301-6177. You can earn some extra money for your family while helping other families in dire need of food and provision. 800-301-6177 or usagoodness.com, and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and leave your information, I'll send you the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-970-6156. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. Call 800-970-6156 now.
Chuck Morse speaks.
Thank you very much, and I'm joined by Richard A. Dio, M.D. He's the author of Watch Your Back, How the Back Pain Industry is Costing Us More and Giving Us Less. Richard, we talked about some practical issues around back pain. I'd like you to address some of the politics of this. You mentioned that there's been a huge proliferation in recent decades of almost a back pain industry to deal with back pain through the use of dangerous drugs and operations and whatnot. Talk a bit more on that and talk about what we can do to challenge that.
Yeah, well, there's a big industry that's developed around treating pain in general, and back pain is probably the most common part of that. And in some ways, it seems as if large companies, the drug companies and device companies, are almost taking advantage of patients. That is, promising cures, sort of over-promising what we actually can do for patients. So, again, it sometimes feels like advertising and the media create the impression that everyone can and should be pain-free all the time, when in fact that's rarely the case for most of us. And the treatments that we have are really not permanent cures in any sense. So I guess one good example of this is the development of new narcotic painkillers, opiate-type pain medications that have been widely promoted to doctors and aggressively advocated by some of the manufacturers. And yet what we've seen is a quadrupling of sales of these things, but at the same time a quadrupling of admissions to addiction therapy programs and a quadrupling of deaths that are related to opioid overdoses. So these things are not benign and often are disappointing in terms of their actual benefits. They may give, again, short-term relief, but in the long run they seem to lose their effectiveness, and that can leave people dependent on the medications and yet still having pain. So it's an example where promotion and marketing have perhaps pushed us beyond what the real benefits of the medication are, and patients are sort of suffering as a result. There are other examples. There are other drugs like Vioxx that many people may recall was on the market for a short time and then withdrawn because it actually increased the risk of heart attacks. That was something that wasn't clear when it touched the market, and the medication had to be recalled. So it's often wise to be cautious about things that are brand new, because we often don't really understand everything about them when they do hit the market.
Oh yeah, I mean there are a lot of examples of that. Fen-Phen for diet was another one. A lot of my fellow radio talk show hosts took it as part of the marketing campaign. It turned out that it caused heart problems. Very bad. Pulled off the market.
Yeah, exactly. That's the sort of thing that unfortunately happens all too often. And, the claim to fame for Vioxx, for example, really was that it was thought to cause less in the way of side effects than other medications. Not that it was necessarily more effective, but in fact it turned out to be less safe in the long run. So we had an expensive drug that had little advantage in terms of effectiveness over older drugs, but more serious risks.
What about Doan's pills?
What about Doan's pills? There's some old things like that have old-fashioned remedies, like aspirin and acetaminophen, which is the same ingredient in Tylenol. Things like that are actually useful. They're over-the-counter medications that in some ways don't get no respect, but that actually are quite helpful. Medications like non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, ibuprofen and the like, are actually a good choice for many people that are having back problems.
Well, that's good to know. Anyway, let people know how they can get the book, Richard.
Yeah, well, the book is available through most of the booksellers. It's available on Amazon. It's available at Cornell University Press, which is the publisher. It's available through my website, which is just richarddio.com. So there are plenty of outlets, and it's available in many bookstores as well.
Excellent. Richard, I want to thank you for joining me this afternoon. Very interesting and important interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care. So that's Dr. Richard. That's Dr. Richard Dio. Sorry about that. Author of Watch Your Back: How the Back Pain Industry is Costing Us More and Giving Us Less, and what you can do to inform and empower yourself in seeking. Available at major bookstores, available at Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, Cornell Publisher. Anyway, please stay tuned. We'll be back.
With a pretty good idea on how you can earn extra money in your spare time, and while you're doing it, help provide food for starving children. You heard me. Now you can earn money for your family and provide meals for hungry children all at the same time. Why don't you check out usagoodness.com. Get more information on starting a new home business. You'll feel great earning extra money to help the family budget, but you'll feel even better knowing that your work is actually saving lives. Go to usagoodness.com or call toll-free 800-301-6177. Again, 800-301-6177. You can earn some extra money for your family while helping other families in dire need of food and provision. 800-301-6177 or usagoodness.com, and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-469-7591, 800-469-7591.
Chuck Morse speaks.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to mention that my Tidbits is available. I'm very excited to be rolling this out in partnership with Tidbits. What this is a daily commentary written by me, usually about this program, in fact, almost exclusively about this program, that just is my thoughts. Usually I write it after the show and just convey whatever I was thinking at the time, maybe didn't get into for various reasons. It's sort of an insider look at the program. And it's also something that you get exclusively emailed to you every day through my partners at Tidbits. And included in that email, you get the podcast of this program. So I'm pleased to roll this out. Go to Tidbits, Tidbitts, and put in Talk Radio Show Notes Podcast. And you'll see it come up. Or just go to the political section, and you'll see my podcast come up, my show come up. It's only 99 cents a month. You can cancel it at any time. The first month is free. So I'm hoping to build a little bit of a following on that, sort of as a way to further enhance my presence, my media. I'll be like Howard Stern, king of all media. Anyway, I think that this election coming up on Tuesday is the most important election in modern times, because it is an opportunity to slow down the authoritarian and socialistic movement that Obama is spearheading to a degree that is more open and more lethal than any president in American history. Obama shows nothing but contempt for this country and for the welfare of the American people. He is, I think that Dinesh D'Souza had it quite right when he spoke of Obama as being of a neo-colonialist mindset, which is to say that he views the United States as a colonialist power, as a settler nation that suppresses so-called indigenous people. I mean, what should we do, give Manhattan Island back to the Native Americans? And that there's some kind of a great crime involved with that we owe something to the rest of the world. It's not fair that West African nations are getting Ebola. Why shouldn't we get it? It's not fair that Christianity is dominant in the United States. Why not give some advantage to Muslims, right, of which his father was one? It's not fair, capitalism, because it takes money away from other people, allegedly, which is the great conspiracy lie of Marxism. So what should we do? We should redistribute it and give pieces of that money to others who did nothing to earn it. And the result is that we now have, it's also not fair that Americans were settled, or the Republic was established by white Europeans, mainly from Great Britain, and that they built their civilization on the backs of black slaves while slaughtering and wiping out the native indigenous people. It's a very, very malevolent and negative view of history, of course, and it's mostly untrue. But that view means that it's not fair, so therefore we should let 20 million people who have no history in the United States just come in here because they want to. Talk about settlers, by the way. Wouldn't the Hispanics coming into the United States be settlers? Right? They weren't here before. Aren't they settlers? I mean, unless I suppose you think that southwestern United States is part of Mexico. Well, what about Chicago? What about New York? What about Boston? Anyway, we'll be right back.
A Truth Talk defender, Chuck Morse, is someone you really do want to know. Chuck hosts the radio talk show Chuck Morse Speaks, which is nationally syndicated. He's the author of books and numerous columns that have been published broadly. Chuck received the 2003 Communicator of the Year award and was named a Heavy 100 radio talk host by Talkers Magazine. When Chuck Morse speaks, people listen.
The taking possession of this tiny holy land so that the Jew can serve God, not conquer the world.
To hear Chuck live, go to irnusaradio.com. To hear Chuck with Deborah Ray on Truth Talk Beyond the Soundbite, visit the on-demand page at deborahray.us.
Most of us have pondered about the one universal question. Is there a God? And if there is there any absolute proof? It is for that exact reason why my good friend Sam Sorbo and I, Maurice Forte, have written our book, The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven. In essence, the answers in our book are surprisingly simple as they're true. Just as light will eliminate darkness, so does the law, which in Greek is called cosmos, eliminate the possibility of chance. Therefore, chance had no part in the creation of the law of this cosmos. And so the only other possibility is that the law was created by a creator that we call God. The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven, is probably one of the most powerful books that truly proves the existence of God via his universal laws, and with it that of an eternal soul and everlasting life. Please find our book, The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven, now on Amazon.com or at our website, theanswer-book.com.
With a pretty good idea on how you can earn extra money in your spare time, and while you're doing it, help provide food for starving children. You heard me. Now you can earn money for your family and provide meals for hungry children all at the same time. Why don't you check out usagoodness.com? Get more information on starting a new home business. You'll feel great earning extra money to help the family budget, but You'll feel even better knowing that your work is actually saving lives. Go to usagoodness.com or call toll-free 800-301-6177. Again, 800-301-6177. You can earn some extra money for your family while helping other families in dire need of food and provision. 800-301-6177 or usagoodness.com, and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Taking back America one listener at a time. Chuck Morse speaks.
Thank you very much. So here we have it. Less than a week before Election Day, Democrats are even avoiding saying the word Obama. And by conventional standards, things look good for Republicans. It looks like the Republicans stand a very good chance of taking back the U.S. Senate, and even maybe by some pretty good margins. You never know. It also looks like Republicans are going to advance their numbers in the House, and I think at least hold on to state houses, governorships. Here in Massachusetts, there is a very good possibility, keeping my fingers crossed, it would be a miracle, that Charlie Baker, the Republican, could win. And by the way, let me just say, maybe on and off the record, that I've met Charlie Baker in the past as a candidate myself, and that he is more conservative and more Republican than he lets on publicly. Don't forget, we're talking Massachusetts. Scott Brown has a real shot at becoming the next senator from New Hampshire. I've also met Scott Brown. Scott Brown actually sponsored an event that of which I was the host back in 2004. Not a bad guy, you know. It would be very, very good to see him win there. Jean Shaheen is really an Obama hack. She's an Obama puppet. She voted with Obama 99% of the time, and you notice during the debate she wouldn't even endorse him. What a phony. And then she has that shrew, Elizabeth Warren, going up and campaigning for her. You know, it's interesting to note here in Massachusetts, I don't know if this is going on elsewhere, but Charlie Baker has been racked over the coals for getting a salary of $1.5 million from his as CEO of Harvard Pilgrim, a company that he saved. And this is after several years of working very intensely to do so. And this is a big deal is being made out of this by Martha Coakley. How despicable. You know, I mean, and this in spite of the fact that Deval Patrick, our present left-wing governor, is worth $30 billion, and that phony Elizabeth Warren is worth about $15 million. We'll be right back.
Most of us have pondered about the one universal question. Is there a God? And if there is there any absolute proof? It is for that exact reason why my good friend Sam Sorbo and I, Maurice Forte, have written our book, The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven. In essence, the answers in our book are surprisingly simple as they're true. Just as light will eliminate darkness, so does the law, which in Greek is called cosmos, eliminate the possibility of chance. Therefore, chance had no part in the creation of the law, this cosmos. And so the only other possibility is that the law was created by a creator that we call God. The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven, is probably one of the most powerful books that truly proves the existence of God via his universal laws, and with it that of an eternal soul and everlasting life. Please find our book, The Answer, Proof of God in Heaven, now on Amazon.com or at our website, theanswer-book.com.
Chuck Morse speaks.
Thank you very much. This is from today's Wall Street Journal. This is from Charles Lipson. He's a columnist with the Journal. Obama's post-election policy blowout. Decisions on immigration, Iran, and other hard issues that were delayed for political reasons will be coming soon. By the way, another one that they're waiting until after the election is releasing the Bo Bergdahl report. We might remember Bo Bergdahl was traded for 5 Taliban leaders and was accused of being a deserter. Well, that report, we're not going to find out what happened until after the election on that one either. Wonder why. With the midterm election looming, the White House has delayed controversial decisions and appointments. That makes sense politically. The administration doesn't want to force Senator Kay Hagan of North Carolina, Senator Mark Pryor of Arkansas, Michelle Nunn, who is running for the U.S. Senate in Georgia, or other embattled Democrats to defend presidential actions right now, or worse, to oppose them publicly. But as soon as the voting is done, perhaps after runoffs in Louisiana and Georgia, several big shoes will drop. Here are the most likely. Immigration. How many millions will the president let in? On what terms? One hint. The Department of Homeland Security recently ordered more than 4 million green cards and visas for next year, and says it might order another 29 million for future years. The cards would give immigrants who are here illegally the right to continue living and working in the United States legally, and perhaps receive a variety of federal and state benefits. Should the president unilaterally issue these cards, there will be a brutal debate over the wisdom of this policy, whether it extends to welfare benefits, and whether the president has the constitutional authority to issue so many cards without congressional approval. The next U.S. Attorney General. The president wants a crusader on progressive causes and a reliable firewall to protect him, just like Eric Holder has done. Rumor has it that he wants Labor Secretary Tom Perez, who has been the point man on racial preferences. Mr. Perez's most controversial and constitutionally questionable position is his support for disparate impact as a measure of discrimination. According to this theory, if fewer blacks or Hispanics are hired than their percentage of the relevant population, quote, then the employer must have discriminated, even if all hiring procedures were fair and racially neutral. If the president nominates Mr. Perez, expect a nasty confirmation fight. Even if the president nominates someone less controversial, tough hearings are almost certain. Keystone XL Pipeline. Given his druthers, the president almost certainly would prefer to kill the project than appease his environmental supporters. But he won't do that before the final votes are tallied for Louisiana Senator Mary Landrieu, who is running for re-election. She is in favor of the project, and her campaign hinges on the perception that as chairwoman of the Senate Energy Committee, she actually affects policy. Bergdahl. The Pentagon has completed a long-delayed report on Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, but won't tell us what it says. Sergeant Bergdahl walked away from his unit in Afghanistan, was taken in by the Taliban, and was finally swapped for 5 Taliban leaders who were detained at Guantanamo Bay. If Sergeant Bergdahl is found to have deserted his post, the report will be bad news for the White House. People will ask why the president gave up so much for a turncoat, and why the president held a rose garden celebration to mark Sergeant Bergdahl's return. Iraq and Syria. No one knows what the president will do with regard to the Islamic State. In fact, it is now virtually impossible to tell who our friends are, since America's opposition to ISIS, a Sunni group, makes the U.S. effectively a partner of its Shiite opponents in Tehran and Damascus. The Saudis, who lead the Sunni coalition, are livid or wonder if the U.S. has switched sides in the Persian Gulf, flipping from its longtime partnership with Saudi Arabia to a de facto one with Iran. Everyone wonders what the president's strategy really is and whether he will stick to it after the election. Iran. This is the big enchilada. If the president cuts a major deal on Iran's nuclear weapons program, which will surely include major concessions on U.S. economic sanctions, he will face a storm of controversy among the public and on Capitol Hill. Worse, Obama might refuse to submit the deal to Congress, claiming that it is an agreement and not a treaty, requiring Senate approval. that could generate a constitutional crisis. So there you have it. That's a fantastic list of executive order type things that we might expect seeing coming down the pike after the election. It's so typical. It's so political. You know, the most dangerous time, in a way, whether Obama wins or loses, is going to be the lame duck period for Congress, when all this stuff could happen. Anyway, we'll be right back.
Ready to create your own income with your own home-based business where there's no such thing as getting laid off? If a billionaire entrepreneur spent 5 years and $20 million searching for the next big trend, wouldn't you want to know what he found? If you're serious about making money from home without having to leave home, then write this down. www.goherenext.com. You decide your income. GoHereNext.com.
Have you ever thought about saying goodbye to your job? Just walking into your boss and saying, I quit. And how would you like to commute to work without ever leaving your home? If a billionaire entrepreneur spent 5 years and $20 million searching for the next big trend, wouldn't you want to know what he found? If you're serious about making money from home without having to leave home, then write this down. www.goherenext.com. You decide your income. Get the facts now. GoHereNext.com.
Chuck Morse speaks.
Thanks so much. And again, I'd like to thank Dr. Richard Deo for joining me, and of course Sam Blumenfeld for joining me earlier. Check out my tidbit, my daily email commentary and podcast. It's only 99 cents a month. If you'd like more information, go to the blog site, the free blog site. That's Chuck Morse Speaks. Or go to Tidbits, TIDBITTS, and put in my name, Chuck Morse, or Talk Radio Show Notes podcast, and you shall see the subscription come up. Also, my books are available at Amazon or Amazon Kindle. Just go to Amazon or Amazon Kindle and put my name in the server, Chuck Morse, Morse like Morse code, M-O-R-S-E, and you'll see 11 books come up, all of which are full-length books. My latest book, which deals with anti-Semitism, is hopefully will be published soon. It's finished at 90,000 words. And I'm just looking for a publisher. I don't want to self-publish this one. I'd like to get a real publisher behind it, but that's not easy. But you can check out my published books, again, at Amazon or Amazon Kindle. All I can say is let's get out and vote on Tuesday. As the Irish in Boston used to say, vote early and vote often. Anyway, get out and vote for Republicans. Let's save the country. Whether you like these people or not, we have to take back the Senate. We can't leave it in the hands of Harry Reid and Barack Obama. That's only going to embolden them. Every election matters. This idea of letting evil come in so that good will happen later, I don't know where in the Bible it says that, let alone it makes no common sense. We have to support the lesser of evils because we support less evil. I mean, it's just that simple. So get out and vote your conscience. Do what you think is best for the country. Vote Republican. Anyway, I shall return, God willing, tomorrow at the usual time, 10 a.m. You're listening, of course, to USA Network. And also, check out this article in the Wall Street Journal. It really lays out the situation. It's in the opinion page. Obama's post-election policy blowout. This is by Charles Lipson. Anyway, thanks again, and I shall return, God willing, tomorrow at 10 a.m. right here at the USA Network. Have a good day, everybody.
Special news alert to consumers who owe back taxes to the IRS.
Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing during the decline in the U.S. economy, the Internal Revenue Service is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers on back taxes, resulting in back taxes reduced by thousands of dollars. An open phone line has been established by Federal Tax Relief for consumers to call and see if you qualify for this reduction. To ensure your financial stability during this decline in the economy, take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-800-432-00 1-800-432-0360. That's 1-800-432-0360. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, there's no need to fear anymore. The IRS is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers, resulting in tax debts reduced by thousands of dollars. For your free information and to see if you qualify for your reduction, call the Federal Tax Relief Hotline, 1-800-432-0360. 1-800-432-0360. That's 1-800-432-0360.